All right, so let's begin on this plug-in for her. Hey, Ava. All right, so what we're going to do today, I don't see my first things first, so we're going to hop right in. And I'm actually going to read a part of day 365. So, habit two is begin with the end in mind. That's a part of why H2O Mondays were developed. And the two Harriets in my life, Harriet Hainsworth and Harriet Tubman. And then the H2O part I've said before, but it's worth repeating again, is that we're predominantly water, as I've said, and our body is predominantly water. The earth is predominantly water, and we need water to survive, hydrate, wash, and clean. And it's been a pretty hot summer here in Atlanta, and we drift, and it sounds like in North Carolina too. So we need the water. So make sure you're hydrating yourself in all ways. It's August 7th, and I just want to read a little bit of I'm determined to know the truth. I'm going to read the last line to open us up with I am determined to know the truth this day, and all people I behold, law or God or Yahweh, whatever we want to call this higher power. I behold this higher power is perfect man. In all situations, I behold the glory of this higher power unfolding. I expect miracles to happen, for nothing can inhibit the action of law, which is the truth in my life. So I had the opportunity to be in Chapala, Mexico. I flew back in from Guadalajara yesterday, and I've got a few trinkets I want to share from that event. This actually says Chapala 2022, and this is from this year, a little souvenir. That's the Conference of Americas, these little handkerchiefs and other things that they gave to kind of represent our trip there. And I like having souvenirs that have the year on it. But what stood out the most is this love in action. It's a children's home. They don't call them an orphanage any longer, but Love in Action was developed for children of abused and abandoned children. And I went to that center or that home last year and this year, but this year I got to actually meet the founder who was actually orphaned herself, is why she's doing this project. And her husband actually came up with the name Love in Action. And she had both boys and girls combined, but as the girls and boys grow up and they hit puberty, that's not a good idea to mix the bunch. So there is also a boys' home there too, and she doesn't run both of them anymore. She's got some men in charge of the boys. But the heartbreaking part is that I actually gave birds of a feather to them. That's the upside of it. But one of the children, as I was writing to Love in Action and the girls there, wanted me to adopt her. And that just kind of hit my heart heavy. And know that children out there after age 3 barely, rarely get adopted. And some of the girls have been there from 3 to now 16 years old. So, I know that that issue is all over the planet. We have that in America too, where children are abandoned and abused. And I would like for Happy Academy to get more involved in that. I've always talked about teens, but I think I want to specifically target kids that don't really have a voice and don't have love in their lives. It's not that children that are in a home don't suffer from abuse and neglect as well, but I know that I want this opportunity to be guided to the ones that need it the most, and anyone that can help with that charge to donate their time and their talents and their tithes to help be love in action with any kid that you see that needs attention, even if they're not in a home. And a lot of us have grown up as adults, but may be wounded from our teenage or our youthful years because of abandonment and neglect and abuse. So some of us are abused and we need the support. So Happy Academy is here for that reason, in the sense that our mental wellness is important and to be in a happy state means you have to be in a peaceful state. So I always recommend that you read Mother Teresa's Recipe for Peace. That is actually on our website, myhappyacademy.org. The other thing I wanted to show is that there are a lot of Americans that have moved to Mexico because of the economics reasons. And even though they've moved there and the dollar used to be really strong, I'm finding that the dollar is weakening. But I went by the Chapala Society where they have a Guadalajara paper. You can see it and it's in English there. So a lot of the material in that little town called Ajiji, where the society is, has a lot of American flair to it, which includes prices. But I brought that up to say our economy is changing too, and it's costing us a whole lot to live in almost everywhere. And even when people move from one country to another because they may be impoverished, our dollar changes their economic status and it doesn't become as powerful either. So a part of what happened while I was in Chapala was a conference, and the topic that my prayer partner and I talked about was the power of decision for hope, and it was combining two books, The Power of Decision by Raymond Charles Barker, Decide to Be Healthy, Decide to Be Peaceful, Decide to Be Happy, Decide to Live Richly. And rich really doesn't mean money in the bank. It's having a abundant mentality that everything you need will come to you in some form or another. And definitely money is good, but money people think money is power, but prayer is power, and whatever you can pray for, you can get. And I want everyone to consider your spiritual economics as that, because we combine the Eric Butterworth book with the power of decision, which is spiritual economics. And we said the power of decision for hope. And the word hope breaks down, I think Avis heard me say it before, to have, for having, H is for happy, O is for opulently, and P is for powerful, and E is for experience. So happy, opulently powerful experiences. And so if you could have a choice for that, the universe will fall into your lap, and in the sense that you will have everything you need. Avis is actually decluttering her house, and for that to have happened, she had a power in her decision, which began with the end in mind. It's time for me to adjust some things in my house. I want to clean some things out, and I want to get things ready for the new me. And we all do that. I think we go through spring cleaning and we get that done. So when we make a decision, the universe will start to help us cultivate that. And last year, when I went to the conference, I said, I'm going to go this year. And I got to go this year. And I said, I'm going to go next year. And the gentleman that I'm seeing, I actually asked him today, will you go to the conference with me? And it pretty much was there, the will, there's a way. So I look forward to that conference every year. I look forward to presenting a workshop every year. And I want this ministry that I have for My Happy Academy, or this quest, this journey that I'm on to spread happiness, is cultivated into just this big, big, big project that spreads across the world. Now, speaking of the 7 habits, I always like to go to the teens book. I know I use the 7 habits of highly effective people for the adults. Oh, I like my blue glasses. They work with this outfit today. So let's open up to whatever page this opens up to. And it does start with begin with the end in mind. So I'm going to just read the page that open up. The crossroads for life. And this is from the teen side, because I want us to know that we still have children in us. I always say children of all ages. And sometimes I feel like I'm 63. Sometimes I feel like I'm 17. Sometimes when I'm watching cartoons, and depending on what era the cartoons are from, I feel like I'm 5. So it's so often that we have to figure out our lives. So let's come from a teen point of view, the crossroads of life. Let's look at the first important reason. When we're young, we think we're free, and then we come to these crossroads. And I think about this with my grandchildren. So I want you to implement where you are and at a crossroads. But I've got 2 grandchildren that are still in school. I've got 2 grandchildren that have graduated high school. So as I talk to them and I use the team book, do you want to go to college or do you want to go to graduate school? And I know that college and graduate school is not for everyone. What will your attitude be towards life? And I think an adult, that's a great question for, but we have to figure out what our attitude is going to be. Is it going to be faithful or fearful? Should we try out for a team? Even when you're working, do you want to get promoted? How soon do you want to retire? How much money do you want in the bank? And all those things are not even guaranteed because I think COVID-19 kind of changed all that because we think we knew what the future would hold. And then we had this pandemic that shut down the whole world and it changed everything that exists. What type of friends do you want to have? And I think that applies for people for all ages. I think the circle of people that are around us challenge us to be better at people, or they challenge us to be worse. That's why kids end up in trouble. And same for adults. Like, will you join a gang? I hope that you have friends that you don't have to join a gang. And then from the adult version, are we hanging around the right people? Are we being honest in our character, or do we do things lesser? Will you have sex before marriage is a question. Will you drink or smoke or do drugs? Will you value your choices? What will you stand for? How will you contribute to your community? And these are the pathways that we have to shape us forever. And both they're frightening and exciting at the same time. A lot of teenagers are full of hormones, so they're not always focused on what they're doing properly. And I think we can kind of groom ourselves into negative habits from our teenage years that flow into our adult years. As I am dating and really committing to this relationship for the first time, I haven't been in a relationship at this level, and it can be it's exciting, but can it be a little scary and intimidating too? And the fact that you got to really give your 100% of you to be able to get 100% back from anyone. So as we're looking at the 7 habits and habit 2, just let me remind you what the habits are. Habit 1 is be proactive, and that's when we have to pause and decide that we want to put a bigger power in there. If there's a stimulus and there's a response, a lot of time we're knocking ourselves up against the wall instead of giving a space. And that's recognizing there's a power bigger than we are. And in that space is where we put what we really want, an affirmation, a quest to have a better life, and what we really want to see happen in our lives. And that's begin with the end in mind. That's putting our faith over our fears. And then habit 3, put first things first, is actually putting that faith action into action, that faith thought into action. Habit 4, think win-win. That means these two independent people come together and they think win-win. It's not the scoreboard. Is that I want you to win and I want you to win. Both of us can win. Seek first to understand, then to be understood is habit 5. Doesn't mean you have to agree with anyone. Like I said, in this new relationship, I'm saying, um, let's learn how to disagree. Let's learn how to disagree agreeably because we're not going to agree on every single thing. We're two individuals with two different paradigms and backgrounds. And oftentimes people bring what their paradigm is to any relationship, even a friendship, even a mother-daughter situation, father-son. They want to put situations on the person that doesn't exist for them in their mind and their hearts and let the other person be and respect them. Habit 6, synergize, and that's bringing everything together. That's what a football team is. That's what I hope we're going to be. We're going to synergize. We're going to bring each of our strengths to the table. That's what H2O Monday is about, bringing the strength of being a 7 habit facilitator out to the world because it has made all the difference in my life, just like the science of mind. And then habit 7 is sharpen the saw. And that's the biggest one, taking care of yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, and social emotionally. That means taking care of this body, getting the rest you need. My significant other said, "You are really tired because I snore when I'm tired." So, I said, "Do I snore really loud?" And they're like, "No, you don't snore loud." but your body needs the rest, and especially if you travel from one country to another and time changes and getting the rest you need. And the food was a little bit different, so I think I ate a little bit different. And so it was a spiritual environment because it was a conference, and how we treat our spirit, whether we nurture it or whether we beat ourselves up. And our mental, this is a part of the mental, as I'm feeding myself, as I'm feeding you, affirmations. And when the end is held firmly enough in consciousness, the means to bring it about has already been set in motion. Those are critical things to make sure that we're charging ourselves and not depleting ourselves. And what Happy Academy is here to do is that we're not going to be upbeat and happy every second. We're human beings. Things happen. Sadness occurs. We forget. I had a person that lost his wife, and he was a minister and spiritual leader of our group. When his wife passed, that impacted him just like he didn't know a thing. He needed the support of his community just like anybody else would. So I say a minister needs a minister, a doctor needs a doctor, a lawyer needs a lawyer. Everybody needs somebody at some time. They actually played that song "Lean on Me" during the conference by Bill Withers, because we all need somebody to lean on. And I hope Happy Academy is here for you to lean on. So we're going to hop into our private part. We've got Avis back on, and anybody who wants to join. Lakaya, you've been reaching out a lot in Kenya, and quite a few of you have been reaching out a lot on LinkedIn and Facebook. So I would like to close with this. I actually shared this with my confidant and friend and partner, that I would love to get in touch with Angie Bofield. I don't know how many people know who Angie Bofield is. You do. I've been listening to her a lot as I'm in love again, and a lot of those songs came out. This time I'll be sweeter. I'm just gonna take that on for myself in this relationship. But she's still alive, and she wrote a lot of those songs. And one of the things that I heard about her was that she had gotten ill once. And you think these stars are making a ton of money and they got money in the bank, and she really didn't have the funds to take care of herself. And I think the music community just came together and took care of her. And as I listen to her songs today and how they lift my heart and they help me to be this young, giddy 63-year-old feeling like she's 17 or 18 or 20 years old because of those songs. So I'm declaring this. This is the end in mind I'd like for Happy Academy to team with whatever her company is, if she has one, or her personal uh, repertoire is still her business, and that we promote her, and that she has all that she needs, and that she helps Happy Academy. I would love to have a fundraiser with her being the singer. And so I'm putting that out there in the world to see if I get actually partnership and project. I get a thumbs up from Avis on that, because I've put that out there to begin with the end in mind, and see what we could collaborate. Birds of a feather, because I liked her because her name was Angela too. Immediately, and she's actually a little older than me. We looked her up today to just make sure she was still on the planet. And she was born in 54 and I was born in 59. So she would be my big sister, Angie. So we're putting that out there for Happy Academy to join forces with maybe more people in the music community. Happy Academy was born because of Pharrell Williams. Do you know what happiness is to you? And happiness is truth. So we'll see you in a week. Thank you for joining us. We have our conscious conversation on this Wednesday, but it's going to be pre-recorded. My prayer partner is actually doing another conference at Sillamar in the Monterey area. So she's going to be on stage out there the same time we would normally do live. So we'll throw that out there at noon, but it'll be pre-recorded. So have a great week. Please donate to Happy Academy for all the love and action that we want to do here for all the teenagers and children of all ages. And we'll see you in a week. Thank you. What's going on, Avis?
Girlfriend, I tell you, it's been a time for new beginnings. New
Okay.
beginnings.
Okay.
I have lost two cousins. One was 91, the other one was 87.
Oh, my.
Beautiful human beings.
Okay.
Beautiful human beings. Yesterday, at the church that my 87-year-old cousin was a member of, I do Sunday school for both churches. And I missed his spirit, but it was so funny, Angela. Me and three other people were in the uh, congregation. And all of a sudden, we hear this door slam. I said, well, that's the minister coming in, getting ready for church. Well, somebody had to go outside. And when they came back inside, they said, there's no other cars here.
Oh,
I said, that's Cousin Roosevelt
oh,
coming in to
yeah.
welcome us to church.
Isn't that something? I love
So I've been going through that, going through the grief and the loss, and the children have not told his wife yet that he has passed
mm,
because she deals with dementia,
okay, okay, okay.
and that's been heavy on my heart too, because both of them were like my second mother and father.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I've
Hmm.
been going through that. Then the house, getting things decluttered, thrown away, given to, whole 19 years. That has been taking up most of my early week, getting that together.
Okay,
Bruce and I have both had dental work done
okay,
on our teeth. That has kept me busy. So it's been a time of new beginnings for me. And
okay,
I'm just asking God to help me to get through it, help me to be about it, taking care of myself as well as Bruce.
okay,
My cleaning lady unfortunately got a notice that she's got to be out of her place at a certain time, but God is working through that too.
okay,
She now has 2 or 3 options that she can take. And
okay,
I strongly believe that's because of the power of prayer. So, yeah, it's been a busy one, but it's been a good one. I've enjoyed myself.
okay,
Uh,
good.